Namaskar. A very warm welcome to all of you to Kalakar's Mehfil, a series of interactive talk and music session that we have started recently. And so far, thank you so much for joining us from all over the world and encouraging us to carry on with these sessions during this pandemic. Surprisingly, it's been almost over a year when we started this online session, when we were celebrating my Guruji's centenary. And now I thought it would be a good opportunity for all of us to see the musicians who are based outside of India and how well they are doing, how talented they are, and how famous they are. So today's session is with two most popular musicians based in UK. One of them is born and brought up in this country. But before I invite him, let me invite Kamalveerji, Dr. Kamalveer Singh, whom you all know. He is a famous person as well and a very sweet person. He is a member of Kalaka team. So let us welcome Kamalveerji to start with.
Namaskar, hello, Sat Sri Akal to all of you from me. And thank you very much for inviting me again to co-host these two wonderful artists today. And I'm looking forward to that.
Kamalveerji, I never invite you. You are a part of the team. You are a family. So
I know.
family को कोई थोड़ी ना invite करता है. So I'm not going to invite you. You are already there.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes. बिल्कुल सही बात कही आपने.
है ना?
जी
So
जी.
a few years back, I had a concert in Wembley in London at Music Room, a place which is set up only to promote Indian classical music. So when I reached there, Kamalveerji was already there. Obviously, we performed together many years. It's been almost 20 years now. But on that day, Kamalveerji did say that, you will be amazed to see there is a very young person who'd accompany you today on the harmonium. I said, okay, that's fine. Let's meet him. So there comes a very young man, very dynamic, very handsome, and says, oh, hello, Chandraji. I said, oh my goodness. He's born and brought up in this country, and he's going to accompany me on the harmonium. So I was actually a bit scared. And then we started doing the sound check, and you won't believe, I was absolutely, as you said that, oh my God, he plays so well. And he's such a talented man. He's such a talented person, a lovely person. So I thought, what could be the better opportunity to invite him first when we start the UK session? So let us welcome very young, dynamic, and most talented Rekesh Chauhan. Hello, Rekesh.
Namaste, Chandraji. Namaste, Kamalveerji. What a delight it is to be in your virtual company. I'm very humbled, firstly, to be invited by both of you to appear on your prestigious show.
It's nice to see you here today. I remember you as a very young person, maybe in your teens, when I heard you first time, and your fingers on the harmonium were running like anything. And this is why I recommended Chandraji. You must listen to him and give him opportunity to accompany you. And you're justified.
That's ever so kind of you. And we were saying earlier, I do remember that opportunity that you gave me. And equally, I was mesmerized by yourself, always Kamalveerji. But when I heard Chandraji for the first time, I felt like I'd missed a lifetime's worth of music. So it was so lovely to be connected through Chandraji and through you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us here, Rekesh. Now, to start with, please tell us, I'm sure the audience would love to hear that being born and brought up in this country at a very young age, how did you start playing the harmonium?
Very good question. So in fact, my father he's a vocalist. So he sings in the style of Indian classical music. So from a young age, I was always surrounded by instruments, as you can probably see around me, and music. And there were always people in the house who were learning from my father, and I was soaking it in without knowing. And at the same time, I had a passion for, as a kid, trying to learn all sorts of instruments. So in fact, my first instrument wasn't the harmonium or the piano, it was actually the guitar. So I studied Western classical guitar music for a long time, and I was always intrigued by the sound of Indian music, and in particular Indian classical music. So when my father wasn't around, I used to try to imitate what I heard him teach his students on the guitar first, before I even attempted to play on the harmonium or the piano. And it was only after, actually, I asked him, if he would teach me. And I was very fortunate to spend time within his company, and I learned everything I was learning on the harmonium. I trained under him in that respect. Simultaneously, at the same time, I was still taking my training in Western classical guitar and the piano. So I would translate, and it was a process of translation, because the style of Indian music never actually existed or does exist on the piano or the guitar. So I spent a lot of my time mimicking this style of music onto the guitar and the piano.
Lovely. That's interesting to know, actually, isn't it, Kamaji?
Very interesting. Very interesting. And I just wanted to ask you a very, very simple question, which might be a little dodgy. Do you speak Hindi?
I wish I could, but no.
He understands. I have spoken to him in Hindi, and he perfectly understands. Hai na, Rekesh?
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, and sometimes it could be a challenge, because, as you alluded to at the beginning, Chandraji, when you enter a concert, and
So you,
sorry,
at home, do you speak in English with your parents or Gujarati?
So they speak to me in Gujarati, sometimes in English, and I do a mix of English and sometimes a bit of broken Gujarati. But sort of mainly English.
It's the same as my children. They also understand when we speak, but they always speak in English. I believe, Chandraji, your son will be same. He's
the same. Yes. He's absolutely the same. But I'm so pleased, Rekesh, that you have continued with your instrumental, and and then you started the harmonium as well. Especially what I was thinking, Kamal BGC, is country mein to classical musicians bahut zyada hai hi nahi. If it was in India, there are a lot of opportunities as a harmonium accompanied artist to accompany other musicians and to learn and to listen, go to live concerts. But in this country, it's very rare, isn't it, Rakesh? What do you think?
Yeah, so I think the market, as some would call it, for classical music, it has increased, and we're lucky to have people like yourself, Chandraji, Kumabiji, to listen to, and there is a really good set of musicians. But yeah, it's you can count them on your hands. The number of concerts, pure classical concerts happening. And the artists themselves. But as you said, the quality, we're blessed with people like yourself, Shahbaz ji, Sanju ji, Kamalbi ji, to have at our doorstep to listen and learn from.
Excellent.
And also, Chandraji, if you remember that few years ago, before people met Rekesh, there was only one genuine harmonium player in this country, Ustad Hussain Saab. And then he was getting bit, his age was increasing, he was getting bit older, and we were seeing him less and less in the public. And so England was suddenly missing a good harmonium player.
Absolutely.
And then we suddenly met Rekesh, and he came with a good surprise, very pleasant surprise. And so I'm very happy that you are actually doing so well in harmonium, not only as an accompanist on the Hindustani music, but with your knowledge of Western music and the piano, you are progressing very well and beyond many Asians do in this country.
That's extremely kind of you, but I think any credit of whatever little I've done definitely goes to both of you, because I've had the chance to sit in your company and to learn the nuances. And I think as an artist, these opportunities can be rare. And sitting on stage with the experience of people like you, it really does give me a opportunity to learn something different. I always say this. I think each artist has something different to offer, and whatever you should always look for that beauty in the artist. And I feel with the range of artists I've had the chance to accompany, I've managed to pick fragrances from everybody, and I feel my style now is actually an amalgamation of lots of different influences.
Mm-hmm. So, Chandra, why don't we listen to him a little bit now?
I was just going to say, I'm sure the audience would love to listen to you, Rekesh. So what would you like to start with?
I'll play a bit of a harmony for you, but you'll have to give me a minute or so just to set up.
Of course, take your time. Take your time.
Let you talk between yourselves for a minute.
Yes. We have so much to talk about, Rekesh. So I'm sure that he will.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially, when I heard him first time and the way he accompanied me, not only on the khayal, but also on the semi-classical part. It was absolutely a surprise, pleasant surprise. And nowadays, wherever I perform, I only want to take him, to be honest. Right. Because, then
I remember
you can actually depend on him. If you have an accompanying artist whom you can depend on,
yes,
then, it helps so much on the stage.
Absolutely. And you need to feel confident about accompanists. They have to complement. A company's job is to complement the main singer, and he does it very well.
So, I'm really pleased. I'm sure a lot of young people would be encouraged to see Rekesh doing that, because it's very difficult. Even in India, I don't find young people taking this as their passion, their mainstream harmonium accompaniment, harmonium playing, and all that. Okay, so I think Rekesh is ready now.
Yes.
Are you ready, Rekesh?
I'm ready. Can you hear me? See me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you. Yes.
Yeah. Basically, we want to hear your harmonium. Say it again.
We can't hear you talk that much, but if we can hear the harmonium, I think that would be good. And then after you finish the harmonium, you can come back to your original set.
That's right, yeah. I'm going to play a little bit of rag for you.
You can start harmonium, and if there is any problem in the sound, we'll just this or that.
Yeah.
Wow, wow. क्या बात
Excellent.
है.
Excellent.
ब्यूटीफुल, ब्यूटीफुल. छंद देखिए, छोटे-छोटे पीलू के छंद कितने अच्छे
Absolutely.
कॉम्बिनेशंस.
That was just wonderful, Rekesh.
यस.
Wonderful. Let me just read some of the comments that I have received from the audience. Everybody's watching you from all over the world, and once again, thank you everyone for joining us today. As you can see, and I always say Kalakar brings you the best. And here is the proof. You can see that Rekesh, how marvelous he is. He's just absolutely wonderful. And the harmonium playing, it sounds like somebody's actually singing those murkis
Mm,
of people.
mm.
And it's lovely, lovely. So if you have liked, I'm sure you have loved his playing. Please do share it so that people, if they have not heard Rekesh before, it would be an opportunity for them. And I'm sure a lot of young people would be encouraged to see Rekesh, to see him playing the harmonium, and later on he would play some other compositions on piano as well. Please do share it with your friends, your family, so that everyone else can watch it. Now, the comments that we have received, Shiv Sharma is saying बहुत खूब. Bobby G, Bobby Dalbir Nandra, hello Bhabhi, nice to see you here as always. Jay Mehta is here, Nayanesh Mehta. Then we have Balwant Banga, Shiv Sharma. We have Jagir Alam. Jagir Alam is saying, hello Kalakar, nice to see a young, brilliant harmonium player, Rekesh. As Kamal Vijay mentioned about my Ustad Ji Fida Hussain Khan Sahab is retired due to old age. I used to call Fida Chachu, and he has been with me for many concerts. And me and Sanju Ji, Sanju Sahai Ji, Fida Chachu, we have traveled together to Manchester and many other
Yeah.
places. I have a very fond memory of Fida Chachu.
Mm.
Then we have Pradeep Jadia. We have Shushmita Sinha. Shushmita is saying melodious. It is. Absolutely, I agree with you, Shushmita. Leela Chauhan. And we have also Balwant. We have Rumi Hawk, Manju Datta. Excellent presentation and discussion. Thank you so much. We have Ranjita Avasti. So all these people are amazed to hear you play, Rekesh.
Thank you all so much for listening.
It's amazing, really, really. A person who is born in this country, brought up in this country, and he's so much in touch with the purity of Indian classical music, semi classical music. Um, Very few artists who are actually brought up and are born and brought up in this country actually play Indian music to this kind of level. And Rekesh is one of them, and he's the youngest of them as well in that category.
Mm.
Wonderful, Rekesh, wonderful. And I wanted to a little bit interest. I seeing your background. You had many tablas sitting there, and you have somewhere guitar sitting, and this Sir sitting. So who plays all these instruments?
So many instruments. Yeah, so I did. I produce a lot of music, and within all my music, I'm always looking for new instruments to play. So I play the piano, guitars, harmonium, etc. And yeah, my father, he plays the tabla and Swaramanda sings. But these are only half the instruments. You know, got so many more.
Rekesh, tell us about your own composition, because I know that you have your own album, your own composition. So please tell us about it.
Sure. So yeah, about maybe a decade or so now, I've been exploring with the style of Indian classical music on the piano. So a few years ago, I released a album of just pure Indian classical ragas on the piano, and it's really interesting trying to explore that, because the idea of Indian classical music is about the means and the microtones, whereas the piano is a fixed tuned instrument, so it doesn't allow you to do that. But what the piano does allow me to do, it allows me to add harmony. And I really wanted to explore how ragas and harmony could really be intertwined together. So I did a whole album of exploring ragas on the piano. And then a few years after that, I did my second album, and that was exploring the style of world music. So I collaborated with the BBC Symphony Orchestra, a violinist, John Garner. So John Garner and myself and a percussionist, Alok Verma, we did a album called Avartan. And then yeah, so since then I've been doing a lot more singles, a lot more productions, and doing a lot more music videos, because the era of albums seems to have sort of decimated slightly. So I focused a lot more on creating more music videos and singles now.
Okay, and do you also sing, Rekesh?
I wish I could. No, I'm a terrible bathroom singer at best.
Now, all these ragas that you said that you have been experimenting with the ragas. Now, as we were talking about in the earlier, that if you were in India, you obviously had the opportunity to attend live concerts and especially the know about the ragas. So, how do you do that in this country?
So I was very lucky. as you said, there are very few harmonium players in this country. So every time an artist came from India, my phone would ring and they said, Rekesh, are you available to accompany Pandit XYZ, Ustad XYZ? And so, oh my God, I was only like 14, 15. How am I going to do this? And I would turn up at the concerts. And as you said, they would start to speak to me in Hindi. And I would nod my head, and you could see the sense of nervousness, thinking, "Oh my God, there's 1,000 people on stage, and this young chap just come up from Birmingham with his harmonium. What's going to happen?" And so many experiences like that. But luckily, they've all been okay. And every time I've gone on stage, I've had the chance to play with people like, Birju Maharaj, Jatin Sachin Mishra, Swapan Chaudhary ji, all these great, luminaries. I've managed to pick up a lot from them on stage, and luckily they've called me back on their second trip. And, they picked up the phone and said, Rekesh, are you available? We really enjoyed playing with you last time. And I said, oh my God, I can't believe you're calling me again. And then the more and more I play with these people, the more, and just like with yourself and Kamal Briji, I tend to pick up a lot more. And so since I was maybe 14, I was touring professionally, and doing so many concerts. And so it was just experience, and sitting on stage playing the harmonium in the capacity of an accompanist is an extremely powerful way of learning, because you have to listen to every single nuance, especially if you're accompanying a Khayal vocalist, for example. The nuances are so fine. You really have to be tuned in, and spending hours and hours just on stage, having to perform at the same time, to pick up all the notes. It was almost like being on stage and being a sponge. And that's been an integral part of my learning process, is actually being on stage and having the opportunity to accompany a plethora of artists. And I've not only stuck to one genre. So initially, actually, I was so Indian classical music is like a drug. It's so addictive, and once you're playing with it, that's all you want to listen to and all you want to digest. But I made a point to myself to actually play with all styles of music. So I spent some time in Spain working with flamenco musicians. I spent a lot of time working with Western classical musicians, playing in jazz clubs, and all of that has amalgamated into sort of my music today, I would say.
My question is coming into my mind that you also accompany ghazal singers and other singers, isn't it? Do you do? Have you played with many ghazal singers? So what happened when I'm accompanying a ghazal singer on the violin? So once I hear the poetry, the ghazal, the shair, when I listen to that, it helps me to then improvise better.
Mm-hmm.
But I understand Urdu and I understand Hindi. But because you don't understand much Hindi and Urdu, so how do you overcome that problem? How do you then explore yourself?
So very, very interesting question. I think the style of the performer, when they set the tone, you get an idea of what the feeling is meant to be like. So I don't necessarily listen to the words. And as you said, as you influenced by the words, I'm influenced by their style and tone and aura. Mm-hmm. And I use that. So, one of the first concerts, ghazal concerts, I remember I was playing with Ashok Khosla from Mumbai. And again, we had the same conversation. He came up and started to speak to me in Hindi. And I thought, we're doing this whole ghazal concert. But yeah, it's just the aura and which is set on stage, and just bouncing off the energy.
Yeah, it's very interesting because I have seen you accompanying and you do it so well. So this is what I used to think, that you probably understand the language as well. But now you told me that you don't speak Hindi.
I'm learning.
है ना? You are
नहीं,
doing
अभी अभी
wonderful.
जल्दी जल्दी सीख जाओ Rekesh, because I'm not going to speak to you in English anymore. हिंदी में बात करेंगे अभी. But what I liked about Rakesh on the first day when I met with him, Kamal Biji, that I have performed with many other accompanying artists, and at times it's a bit annoying that they try to take
Overpower.
they overpower it, and then you don't get actually what you are trying to think. What is
Mhm.
the next combination would be that they play. So that's a bit of a problem. And you
Yeah, this
can't think of different combinations which you would like to do as a main performing artist. But with Rekesh, he accompanies such a way that he helps. He
this
helps
is
to
the, yeah,
think more.
intelligent people in any field,
Mm,
they are very good listeners. They listen to things very carefully. So
absolutely.
that's what he does. He listen to things very carefully and then see where the application is and how he can apply himself. If you don't listen to the artist, just start playing along and attacking, then you are actually not in the same pattern, not in the same mood.
Yeah.
You're playing different mood, which is
Absolutely.
which disturbs the main singer and also it changes
Very much
the
does. And that's where I prefer Rakesh, because if he's there, I
yeah,
can depend on him. I
that's
know
right.
that I'll finish my singing and then he would play, and then he's playing, he's the composition, the combinations he would play. That would help me, support me to even make more new things. So that's really wonderful. Rakesh, what are you going to play for us more? I'm really eager to listen to you more and more today. After a long time, I'm meeting you.
Would you like me to play some harmonium, some piano?
Please do. Yes, please.
Harmonium or piano?
ना
Piano
हारमोनियम प्लीज
or
नहीं नहीं
harmonium?
कमल
Okay.
जी पहले थोड़ा सा और हारमोनियम सुन लेते हैं हम
Harmonium
आई लव
सुनेंगे.
दिस हारमोनियम प्लेइंग
All right. Okay. Just give me a second.
श्योर
Mhm.
Right.
So जब राकेश ने अभी जो पहला पीलू में पीस बजाया था तो वो मैं छोटे छोटे छंद इसके देख रहा था छोटी छोटी कॉम्बिनेशंस जो है पीलू में कितनी बन सकती हैं एंड इसने सब कॉम्बिनेशन इतनी ब्यूटीफुली बनाई इतने कॉन्फिडेंटली बनाई तो वो जो ठुमरी का स्पेशल वो जो भाव होता है कितना अच्छा क्लियर झलक रहा था उसमें से
very nice. He's at such a young age. The way he has learned, and he has he has practiced and continued. I'm sure
यस
go a long way, which I would hope for.
वो कहते हैं ना होनहार के पांव पलने में ही दिख जाते हैं
Absolutely.
so he is proving that
Now I'm so pleased that he's here in this country. Otherwise, मैं तो आपको शेफिल से बुला लेती हूँ और तो
I
कोई
know,
है ही नहीं. फिदा
I
चाचू
know.
जब तक थे that was good, but now obviously he's retired, and and also I think with the tabla, if there he's a solo tabla performance, they also need accompaniment, harmonium accompaniment as well
बिल्कुल
at times.
लहरा बजाने के लिए नगमा बजाने के लिए हारमोनियम goes so well with solo tabla. Here we go. Rakesh is here. I mean, we shouldn't call Rakesh. He's Rikesh.
Who's Rekesh? Yes.
Rikesh.
Sorry, the sun's quite bright, so I'm just trying to make sure. Can you see and hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
we can
yes.
see and hear you. Yes. If you want to go a little bit on your left to cover, there's a light shining on your gas fire at the back. Cover it more with maybe. Okay, that's probably right. Otherwise, it was okay. That's probably fine. It just that light is bit. Yeah, maybe no. Rakesh, move back to it a little bit right. Yeah, because it's otherwise making your face go funny. Yes, that's fine. That's okay. Good.
वाह, क्या बात है.
क्या स्पीड है देखिए.
Absolutely wonderful.
And so
Again,
clear.
I would like to read some comments here, Kamal Viji. Jay Mehta is saying wonderful. Manoj Gaundia, वाह वाह Rakesh. Nayanesh Mehta, बहुत खूब Rakesh. Shiv Sharma is saying excellent performance on harmonium, very refreshing change. Shormishtha Ganguly, क्या बात. Balwant Banga, remarkable. Hema Chauhan is saying absolutely beautiful. Rumi Hawk is saying how beautifully and skillfully his fingers almost glide over the keys. And Meher Ahmed is also enjoying the show. It is actually true. The way, the speed he has, he has practiced, the way his fingers move on the keys. It's absolutely wonderful to see.
That's right. That's right. I mean,
Excellent, Rekesh.
as somebody said, how the finger glides. That's exactly, I was looking at his fingers. He was gliding like anything. And especially he's now started playing jhala sort of ang in the harmonium as well, which
Yeah,
I
I've
haven't
noticed
heard
that.
before in the harmonium. So sitar type of jhala saw to every note. Wonderful, Rikesh. You are exploring new ideas into the harmonium.
Trying my best.
No, you're doing very better than best.
Thank you so much.
What would you like to play now, Rekesh? I can see you are sitting next to your piano.
Yeah.
So what do you tell me? Which one is your favorite in between harmonium and piano?
That's a very difficult answer to give you, but I would, if I had to choose, I would say the piano definitely.
Okay.
Just there's a lot more scope for exploration, and I'm a bit mischievous, so I like to explore a bit more.
Absolutely. So what would you like to play for our audience today? On the piano, you were saying that you are doing some experimental work. Maybe, I don't know whether you are happy to give us a glimpse of it.
Yeah, I'll play you one of my compositions.
Okay.
Just give me a second and I'll just get
Sure.
some.
So I'm looking forward to listen to his piano now.
The only thing is, though, Kamal Viji, I don't know how it works with Rekesh because some venues don't have a piano there. So in that case,
that's why people are trying to imitate on the keyboards now, all these things, which don't give the same sound, but
certainly don't get the same feeling, isn't it?
you never get the sound of the original instrument in any electronic instrument. Even people who they claim wrong because I can hear it. It's not the same.
Because the smaller venues in this country and even in India, how many venues have a piano there that the performer could play? So what do you do in that case, Rekesh, if you are performing a piano but the venue doesn't have a piano?
I don't play. Quite simple.
No, but do you try to do it on a keyboard rather?
No, it depends on the style of the music. You know, if I'm playing a set which I've designed for the piano, then it doesn't make sense for me to play on a keyboard. Whereas if I'm playing more world music styles and I don't require the piano, for example, if I'm playing the capacity of an accompanist, for example, with a ghazal singer, or they might require something different, then I'm happy to play keyboards. But if I'm playing a solo show, I don't usually substitute the sort of keyboard for the piano.
Okay, let's hear you now.
I'm gonna play a composition of mine. It's in 7/8. But I'll give you a quick.
क्या बात है? You must have understood क्या बात है.
I think it's a good thing, yeah.
Yes, it's a good thing. It definitely is a good thing, Rekesh. Now, tell us, what was this composition all about? Was it a themed composition, or did you only do it on the piano, or you had any other instrument with it as well?
So originally, I just composed it because there's a interesting riff. So it's just playing around with 7/8, because usually, you know, in Indian classical music, if we were doing like a 7/8, we'd use Rupak or something like that. But this wouldn't fit into that exactly. So the idea was to fragment different rhythm cycles and then to put them into one. And you probably heard elements of different ragas in there. So, you know,
Yes. Yeah. Did you keep a few rags in mind with this composition? Because I could hear a bit of Basant Mukhari in it.
Yeah.
And
yes,
what else?
yeah, so the idea was to sort of amalgamate a lot of different ragas together and put them in.
Hmm. Wow. It sounded very good. Very good. Now, with the piano and the harmonium, although it's same pattern keys, but the size is enormously different. And
Well, you have
fingers
eight.
get, I know. So how your fingers straight away remember when you go on the harmonium, keys are too close and small, while piano keys are bigger and wider.
The style of harmonium playing in piano is actually different. So in the harmonium, you don't usually use your little finger to play, so it's not accepted for harmonium playing, traditionally speaking. But in the piano, it's you the fingering and the way the hands used is completely different. So they're both completely different instruments, and although you can play a style of harmonium on the piano, it's it's probably not the best thing to do, to try and
Mm.
imitate fingering pattern to do that you play on a harmonium playing the piano.
So that's why you need separate practice. Each instrument needs its own practice to make your.
And it needs a different mindset as well.
Yes, that's
Um,
another problem. Yeah.
yeah, they both require a different mindset totally. And when I first started to experiment playing on the piano, because the style of Indian classical music, it's never been harmonized as much before, but
Mm.
a lot of the times when it was actually done quite well in Bollywood music. So Bollywood music, that's when they started to experiment a lot with string arrangements. So what I used to do, I used to listen to a lot of classical based
Right.
Bollywood
Bollywood songs.
Okay.
Hmm.
and understand actually how they use the harmonization
Mm-hmm.
elements from there. And people like R.D. Berman did more wacky stuff with his percussion arrangements. But there are so many composers who work so well in harmonizing Indian classical music within Bollywood songs.
Mm.
Hmm.
Mm.
So did you try playing any Bollywood song on piano? Any classical based one?
Um, Let me think of one. Not strictly classical, but there's a beautiful song by Praveen Sultana, which I'll play.
Wow, wow. If Praveen Sultana ji was listening to this one, you playing her song, she would have said, "Hame tumse pyar kitna."
Absolutely. Did you understand that, Rekesh?
A little, yeah.
So this song is "Hame tumse pyar kitna." That I love you so much. So this is what I mean. If she listened to you playing this one, she will say that.
Yeah. So yeah, there are so many. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
we
we
can hear
can.
you.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So there are so many songs explored within Bollywood music that incorporate a lot of classical music. So that in itself, just listening and digesting music, from the 60s, 70s, and 80s,
Mm.
helped me understand actually what the harmonization could be. But for example, if I took something a bit more classical, like I don't know, something like Berbi, if I played, shall I play a little Berbi for you?
Please
No,
do.
sure, sure. वाह, wonderful, क्या बात है. So in the beginning, I was a little bit confused. You said Bhairavi, and because I assumed you're probably Komal Ray as your Sa, so I was wondering where is that Bhairavi. Then I suddenly caught your Sa. Wow, yeah. Mm. But it's beautiful that you can harmonize our rags as well. That you're trying to prove that point that rags can be harmonized. Your sound is off. Rekesh, your sound is off.
Yeah, there's so many different ways of harmonizing, and sometimes you can stick and use notes from within the rag, and sometimes you can do what I do and go a bit outside of the rag just to try and give it a different flavor so it doesn't get boring all the time.
But for example, in Bhairavi, okay, Komal Ga, Komal Dha, Komal Need, Komal Re, all these notes, you can probably harmonize more with equal distances. But rags like with the Tivrama, Komal Re, how do you overcome all these harmonies and combination of the notes? That can,
What's the question? Sorry.
I mean, in certain rags, for example, if you say Puriya Dhanashri, and you want to do harmonies in that, it can create certain problems because the notes are not at the harmonic distances.
That's right. So you're a bit limited in terms of how many combinations you can use,
Exactly.
within some ranks. And sometimes what's quite interesting about classical music, Indian classical in particular, is that the fine tuning of, for example, for Ga and Ma, each rag sometimes requires a different tuning for and like you said, like the temperament is different, so sometimes you have to be quite sensitive when you are trying to explore that. Indeed.
Exactly. But I mean, whatever we have heard you doing is excellent, and I really love the way you play.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you, Rekesh. What can I say? You are so young, talented, and I'm so pleased that we could finally do a session with you. I have been thinking about it for a long time that I must do something with the UK-based musicians because we have been inviting people from all around. But with such talent and such maestros we have in UK, I already had a session with Sanjuji. And today I'm going to have one with Shahbaz Bhai in a minute, and having you as well. It's wonderful. Thank you so much, Rekesh. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Can I just say how humbled I am to be invited, especially amongst people like yourself, Kamalji, Chandraji, and I know Shahbaz. He's playing next, and I'm such a huge fan of all your musical styles and playing. So it's a privilege to be on your platform today. So thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. Hope to see you very soon. As soon as the lockdown is over.
I do hope we can play very soon, indeed.
Absolutely.
And thank you for being here.
Take care. Take care, Rekesh.
Bye.
See you. Bye-bye.
Wow, that was wonderful. Isn't
Very,
it?
very great session.
Absolutely
Great
wonderful.
session.
Yeah. So we have Ustad Shahbaz Hussain with us, who is a world-famous musician, a tabla maestro, based in UK. And कभी-कभी कमल जी मैं ये कहती हूँ कि हमारे यहाँ we have very good musicians and we don't need to go to India.
That's right. That's right. I mean, Shahbaz को मैं Shahbaz भाई, hello, कैसे हैं?
हेलो जी, कैसे हैं?
नमस्ते Shahbaz भाई.
नमस्ते.
Thank you so much for joining.
मेरी आवाज आ रही है आपको?
बिल्कुल आ रही. और ये नगमा आपका बेटा बजाएगा आज आपके साथ?
जी, मेरा ये बेटा है अली हाशिम.
अरे वाह,
हेलो.
इस बेटे को तो मैं तब से जानता हूँ जब वो 6 महीने का था, तब से मैं जानता हूँ इस बेटे को.
जी. अब तो ये माशाल्लाह अभी 12 साल का हो गया. उसको आपकी आवाज नहीं जा रही, लेकिन मैं उसको बता दूंगा.
अच्छा, उसको मेरी आवाज.
If we could please increase the volume of your speaking because I can hear you, but would be
okay.
better to have it.
That's better. That's
अभी
better.
बेहतर हुआ? Is that better?
हाँ
Yes.
जी, हाँ जी,
Okay. Yeah.
बेटर
Yeah.
है.
Yeah.
थैंक यू. शाहबाज भाई, आपसे तो बात करेंगे, बट आप पहले परिचय करवाइए यंगस्टर्स से.
जी, ये मेरा बेटा है अली हाशिम और
हेलो अली.
हाँ हाँ या he can't hear you because I'm using my
You got
in-ear
the
monitors.
headphone.
Yeah. So yeah, he's just about to turn 12. Sorry, 12. Yeah, 12. Yeah, next month. And he's been learning tabla along with my elder son Jamal, and so both of them are learning tabla, and you know, they both were born here, and they have a lot of love for culture, our tehzeeb, our tradition, our music, and I'm trying my very best to, you know, impart whatever little I know about this great art form and pass it down to the next generation. So अभी तो मैं खुद सीख रहा हूँ, अभी खुद मैं इस जर्नी में हूँ, लेकिन whatever little I can help them with, I sure will.
This is so nice to see him. और नगमा भी बजाएगा और तकिया पे बैठा है. कमल भी जी देखिए कितना छोटा बच्चा है, so he has to sit on a big
और तबले के ऊपर नगमा बजाना कोई इतना आसान काम नहीं है. जब नए करी टुकड़े वगैरह
बस मैं ये कोशिश करता हूँ कि क्योंकि I really feel कमल जी, first of all पहले तो बात करने से पहले I want to thank both of you for inviting me and having me on this show. और मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा. And I know this was supposed to happen a few weeks back, लेकिन unfortunately due to some unforeseen circumstances we were unable to do this. But I'm very happy today that I've been able to come today and talk to you. And I know Chandni and Billy, I've known you for, you know, for so many years. और आप लोग ने जो यूके में जो आप लोगों का कंट्रीब्यूशन है, और इतना मुश्किल होता है कि यूके जैसे मुल्क में कि जहाँ पे there are so many different cultures and different traditions going, you know, going on simultaneously, और उसमें अपने संगीत को, अपने म्यूजिक को और अपने कल्चर को जिंदा रखना, ये बहुत मुश्किल काम है. And you know, you're doing a really great job, and it's so nice that you have found a way to contact so many musicians and artists, and you know, and you talk to them and you ask them about their journey, and I think it's so important, because I surely think unfortunately the musicians outside of India or Pakistan, they somehow have been ignored, you know, to some extent, due to whatever reason. I don't know what the reason is. Lekin it's always nice to be able to say, look, I do this, I play the violin, or I sing or tabla, and be able to showcase your talent or your whatever you learned to, you know, to the world. So it's always nice to be supported by your fellow musicians like Kamal Biji and Chandra ji. ये बड़ा अच्छा लगा मुझे, और I'm very honored. Thank you so much. अब मैं भूल गया मैं क्या कहने लगा था.
Actually, I started the online session when everything was stopped due to pandemic. I had to celebrate my Guruji's centenary. तो उसी के हिसाब से मैंने शुरू किया था. फिर बाद में सोचा कि अभी इंडिया में सब कुछ is all open now. They are doing the concerts and everything, but over here अभी तो कुछ भी चालू नहीं हुआ. आपको पता है अभी कुछ महीने और लग सकते हैं.
बिल्कुल.
कम से कम एटलीस्ट इसी तरीके से हम लोग एक दूसरे से मुलाकात भी हो सकती है, और listen to good music, you know, meet and talk about music. That's, I thought, would be a good way to.
That's wonderful idea. Wonderful idea. I think it's important to, because I think I feel that musicians are not only musicians on stage. They are able to explain what they feel about music and what their insight about music is. You know, and it's very important to get their side of the story as well.
Absolutely.
You know,
And also, I mean, the good thing which Chandra ji have done, like there are so many people now doing online concerts and organizing, but they are all concentrating on light music, film songs, ghazals, but hardly any organization doing work for the Indian classical music.
I agree.
And Chandra ji is the one who started.
I agree.
She have managed to call all those top artists from India and now from UK. So
Yeah,
this is a great job, Chandraji. I must say thank you to you that
absolutely,
you have done such a
Thank you
wonderful
for your
job.
support.
absolutely,
This is
absolutely.
my way of introducing good music to other
Hmm.
people. There are people who don't get the opportunity, especially during this time,
Yeah,
and we can't perform anywhere. So at
yeah.
least inviting artists and listening to them is also very important. And Shahbaz bhai, मैं सीखती भी हूँ. एक सेशन से I am learning so much myself.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल
है ना?
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल आई एग्री मैं आई there's it's an interesting thing कि since the very first lockdown happened in the UK, um, हम सब सोच रहे थे कि क्या होगा, what will happen, how will we, when will this finish, how long will this carry on for, and बहुत हम सब घबरा गए थे कि क्या होगा, कैसे बनेगा, क्या करेंगे. लेकिन the very first lockdown for me, and I know for a lot of other musicians as well who I talk to and I've been in contact with, we all agreed that the first lockdown was a very good opportunity for us all to really sit down with your instrument and really, जो एक चांस अदरवाइज नहीं मिलता, क्योंकि
नहीं.
कभी हम लोग किसी कंट्री में ट्रैवल कर रहे हैं, कभी कुछ कर रहे हैं, कभी टीचिंग इतना होता है कि वो अपना रियाज करने का मौका नहीं मिलता. तो I for one really used this first lockdown to really do my riyaz and really go over my old lessons and my old talim which I had learned in my when I was younger, or digging out old cassettes and recordings and of my lessons and my old notes, and I really enjoyed revising them and relearning them again. तो बहुत अच्छा लगा, बहुत ही मुझे, and I got time to spend with my family and my students and everyone, और उनके साथ बात करने का मौका मिला मुझे, और really understand के how I can be a better teacher. क्योंकि सिखाते होता क्या है कि you get into this routine कि अब चलो, अब ये 4 बज गए हैं तो अभी लेसन का टाइम हो गया तो whatever. लेकिन this lockdown or the first lockdown really give me a chance to really understand the way I should be teaching, and I should look at my instrument and I should think about the music. It really gave me a chance to really do my homework properly.
Exactly.
And so I think
For
it
all
was a
of us,
blessing
I
in
think.
disguise. Yeah, I
It was
agree.
for all of us. I
Yeah.
could also think that okay, I don't have to go to work. At least I can sit and do my riyaz.
बिल्कुल
आराम से
बिल्कुल
बैठ के अपना प्रैक्टिस करेंगे. वो
बिल्कुल
जो राग है, I haven't performed it. I haven't
बिल्कुल
done it for many years. So it
बिल्कुल
was a good opportunity.
बहुत मौका मिला. Very
Yeah,
good
yeah.
opportunity.
Shahbaz bhai, we have another team member of Kalakar who is a great fan of yours, but he has
Oh.
never met you. So उन्होंने मुझे कहा कि मुझे आज तो शाहबाज भाई से मुलाकात करना ही है, मैं आ रहा हूँ अभी. तो मैंने कहा ठीक
अरे
है, आप आ जाइए.
वाह,
So आपसे मुलाकात मैं करवा देती हूँ डॉक्टर
जी
इम्तियाज
जरूर
अहमद से.
जरूर जी इम्तियाज जी, कैसे हैं आप?
I'm fine, thank you. We are a big fan of yours. I mean, over the years, and nice having you on this Kalakar Arts program
I'm
today.
very happy to be here.
Yeah, I mean, I heard you very intimately. I don't know, they remember in Dartington when Ustad Amjad Ali Khan Sahab was here, and
Yeah.
with him. In the
Yeah.
charts there, and we had a few days festival there. It was fantastic opportunity of
It was amazing. That was a very I was very honored when Khan Sahab asked me to play with him, and it was a great opportunity. I think it was the Tagore festival, right?
It was.
Yeah, in Dartington.
Yes,
I remember. This was back in 2014.
Yes, I think you're right.
Yeah,
It was a fantastic opportunity
Yeah.
for me to know. I mean, know about your music or your
Thank
playing.
you so much. That's very kind of you.
Shahbaz bhai, I'm sure the audience they're eagerly waiting to hear you.
क्या
And
बजाऊं, मुझे आप बताइए
more
क्या.
importantly, ये जो आपके साथ जो नगमा बजाने वाले बैठे हैं, उनको देखने के लिए I'm sure people are लोग बेताब है बिल्कुल. तो
नहीं,
कुछ भी आप सुनाइए प्लीज.
मैं अच्छा चले, मैं थोड़ा सा आपको शुरू करने से पहले तो बहुत शुक्रिया, और कोई गलती अगर हो जाए मेरे से तो मैं माफ़ी चाहता हूँ. और बस मेरे साथ अली हाशिम है, मेरे साथ लहरा बजाएगा और 3 ताल थोड़ा सा मैं मुझे जब बंद करने का है तो मुझे बता दीजिएगा जब कब
नहीं
बंद
आप
कर दूं
प्लीज
मैं।
प्लीज आप चलिए, आप करते रहिए, बंद करने का तो कुछ है ही सवाल ही नहीं उठता।
अच्छा ठीक। And आपको आवाज ठीक आ रही है?
ठीक है, yes।
ये मेरे उस्ताद जी का, मेरा उस्ताद अल्लाह रखा खान साहब की चीज़ मैं रेला पेश कर रहा हूँ तीसर जाति में। थोड़ा सा मिश्र जाति पेश कर रहा हूँ, which is 7-in-1.
क्या बात.
Amazing.
शुक्रिया
Absolutely
बहुत
brilliant. Shahbaz bhai, I just wanted to tell you that, of course, your tabla, everybody knows how you are a maestro. But all the comments that I have received now, I can say, sorry, not for you.
I know I knew it मुझे पता था It's for
नहीं,
Hashim.
ये बहुत मुश्किल काम है. इसी लय में मतलब
बहुत,
जुनेद
बहुत.
आदिवासी की इसी लय में नगमा इसी तरीके से मतलब properly
हाँ.
keeping it's
हाँ.
very difficult.
बहुत बहुत
Very
बहुत
difficult.
मुश्किल बहुत
Very
मुश्किल
Still,
because
and his age, he's only 12, so boys of his age would probably play with Pokemon cards and Nintendo games and all those Xbox.
नहीं वो भी सब करते हैं. They play with
वो भी करते हैं.
PS4 और क्रिकेट खेलते हैं और टीवी देखते हैं और कार्टून देखते हैं. ये सब करते हैं. लेकिन when it comes to music, I make sure not just my own kids, लेकिन जो मेरे शागिर्द हैं या स्टूडेंट हैं जो तबला सीख रहे हैं, जब काम करने का टाइम आए, then you must be focused. You must be focused.
शाहबाज भाई मुझे
जी.
अभी न्यूयॉर्क से मैसेज आया है
जी.
मेरी बेटी का, रशीना, वो सुन
अरे
रही है
अच्छा
वहाँ
अच्छा
पे.
हाँ अच्छा हाय
और
हेलो
उसने ये बोला है कि उसका बेटा अभी 4 साल का होने वाला मई में, कि मैं जब
हाँ.
इंग्लैंड आऊंगी तो मैं उसको कुछ दिन शाहबाज के पास छोड़ना चाहती हूँ.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल एनी
तबले की
टाइम.
ट्रेनिंग ले.
नहीं
तो
जरूर
आपको
मुझे
एक
बड़ा अच्छा लगेगा
सबसे छोटा शागिर्द आपके पास एक आ रहा है जल्दी.
No, this
No
is so
problem.
nice, and again, it's so encouraging to see that children born and brought up here with the guidance of the parents and the gurus
I
are
think
continuing to.
Chandra ji, I think my view on this is that when I was growing up in the 80s or early 80s या मतलब 25-30 साल पहले, when we were growing up in the UK, there was a lot of activity going on. There were a lot of concerts. There were a lot of private महफिल्स. लोगों के घरों में programs होते थे. कभी गुलाम अली साहब आए या मेहदी हसन खान साहब आए या उस्ताद जाकिर हुसैन आए हैं तो वो कॉन्सर्ट कर रहे हैं. ये पंडित रविशंकर जी आए. तो there was a lot of activity going on in the UK. Then suddenly the past 10 or 15 years it died down a lot. Nothing was happening too much. लोगों के में घरों में जो एक महफिल का जो कल्चर था, बैठक का, that I think was very important because it brought the artist and the audience together at such a level. It became very intimate and become very personal, So that was very important. I for one grew up in that mahal, in that environment because मुझे बहुत मौका मिला to play with different musicians from India and Pakistan when I was growing up. So I got a lot of exposure to the stage. My stage fright was I didn't have any stage fright at that time, So I was very confident on stage. तो मुझे मौका मिला. Now the next generation, our students now, unfortunately they don't have the exposure. The only exposure they have is when they sit with the guru or when they watch anything online. Although concerts are happening, in the halls, like there are many wonderful festivals, like the fest is happening. There are so many other organizations who are doing concerts in halls. लेकिन वो जो intimate जो atmosphere है, that's very important, I think.
So
very important.
Why you think that has reduced? जो इंडिया से, पाकिस्तान से बड़े-बड़े अच्छे उस्ताद आया करते थे, परफॉर्म घरों में भी करते थे.
There are many reasons, Kamabi ji. I think from visa issues, लोगों को, आर्टिस्टों को वीज़ा नहीं मिलता यहाँ आने के लिए, और लोग शायद यहाँ पे जो रहते हैं, they're not able to host musicians and artists as regularly as they used to. So I think there's a whole host of reasons. There's not just one reason. There's many reasons. Lekin I think they should be revived again slowly. I think they should be artists को यहाँ पे आना चाहिए. They should be able to perform not just in big halls, but in smaller venues and smaller gatherings. There should be some exposure that way because
that's more important.
Very important.
More important.
Very important. तो मैं कोशिश ये करता हूँ कि अपने बच्चों को, अपने शागिर्दों को, मतलब keep them exposed as much as I can. और जो material इनको आज the available material they have nowadays, we didn't have when we were growing up, like YouTube and recordings. आज आप किसी का भी नाम लें. Just yesterday I found a recording of Ustad Allah Diya Khan Sahab. वो
अच्छा।
जयपुर अतरैया वाले, और 1-2 मिनट की रिकॉर्डिंग है वो, लेकिन हमने बचपन में उनका नाम ही सुना था।
नाम ही
तो आज आप देखिए उनकी रिकॉर्डिंग भी मिल रही है। तो there's so much information available, which is a good thing, but also a slightly dangerous thing as well, because there's too much information available. बच्चा वो हैंडल नहीं कर पाता, you know. So it's up to the guru to really guide the student कि देखो ये सुनो, अभी ये करो, अभी you know मेरा ये हाशिम की मैं बात बताऊं कि अभी मैं घर पे अब रियाज अगर कर रहे हो तो फौरन फोन पे अपना रिकॉर्ड कर लेगा कुछ। मैंने कहा यार जो अभी सीखा वो तो पहले कर लो, बाद में कर लेना जो भी रिकॉर्ड करना है।
चंद्रा जी, मुझे याद है, कम से कम 30 साल पुरानी बात बता रहा हूँ मैं आपको। मैं ब्रैडफोर्ड गया था प्रोग्राम करने।
जी।
मुझे ये नहीं याद आ रहा किसके साथ मैं वायलिन बजाने गया था। तो उन्होंने एक बड़े यंग तबला प्लेयर को बुक किया था। वो यंग तबला प्लेयर मुश्किल से 16 साल का रहा होगा तब, और शायद इतना भी ना रहा हो, इसी सॉर्ट ऑफ एज ग्रुप का। और प्रोग्राम शुरू होने से पहले ही वो स्टेज के ऊपर बैठा हुआ अपने तबले का रियाज कर रहा था, और बड़े बढ़िया बढ़िया टुकड़े बजा रहा था। रियाज, लोग अपने घूम फिर रहे हैं, अभी प्रोग्राम का कोई, और वो शख्स था शहबाज।
अच्छा।
मुझे
वाह।
याद है, यस, एंड ही वाज शहबाज। मैंने जब देखा भी इतना यंग लड़का, उसको कोई फिक्र नहीं है कौन उसको सुन रहा है कौन नहीं, कोई स्टेज फ्राइट नहीं है, एंड कोई खाना चल रहा है, लोग खाना खा रहे हैं, ये बैठा हुआ वहां पे अपना तबले पे रियाज कर रहा है स्टेज के ऊपर। So this is the spirit some people get that
मैं
practice
आपको
ही,
हाँ, you know this culture of रियाज and practice और मेहनत and dedication is all due to my father.
yes,
my
he was
my
there as well.
father,
I remember him
yeah,
very much.
जी, my father मुमताज हुसैन नाम था उनका, और he sadly passed away in 95.
That's right.
तो उन्होंने बहुत मुझे पुश किया, and it was his dream really for me to become a tabla player or to play the tabla. तो although मतलब हम मेरी फैमिली में my mother side and my father side they were all musicians and very famous, और बहुत नाम उन लोगों ने किया. My father came in the UK in 64, you know, in search of a better life, you know. लेकिन he always was rooted with his culture, his country, his roots. तो और बहुत अच्छा गाते थे, बहुत अच्छी उनकी आवाज़ थी, बड़ा टोन उनका बहुत ही अच्छा था. तो दिस कल्चर ऑफ रियाज कि हम स्कूल से घर वापस आए तो सीधा तबले पे बैठ गए, और खाना खाया तबले पे बैठ गए, सुबह जल्दी मतलब वीकेंड को उठ गए और कुछ काम नहीं है तो रियाज पे बैठ गए 2-2.5 घंटा 3 घंटा. तो वो मेरे साथ लहरा नगमे पे बजाते थे, या उन्होंने कुछ गाया तो मैं साथ बजा रहा हूँ. तो 24 घंटा हमारे घर में मतलब म्यूजिक का एक माहौल था. तो whatever I am is due to him really.
तो आप तो अल्लाह रखा जी से भी सीखे हैं, वो कैसे उनके कांटेक्ट में आया?
जी, तो मैं अपने गुरुओं का मैं अगर आपको बताऊं तो I've been very lucky कमलवीर जी कि my parents were, you know, very supportive, and I got some of the best gurus anyone could get, namely Ustad फयाज खान साहब और उस्ताद मियाँ शौकत हुसैन खान साहब पंजाब के, और उस्ताद अल्लाह रखा खान साहब जिनको पूरी दुनिया जानती है.
जी.
तो इन सब बुजुर्गों ने मुझे मिलकर मुझे बनाया, मुझे पुश किया, इनकरेज किया. तो आई एम वेरी थैंकफुल टू देम. तो फयाज खान साहब, आई बिकेम हिज डिसाइपल इन 90 और 91, और उनसे सीखने का मुझे 25-26 साल मुझे मौका मिला उनसे सीखने का. और you know, my तालीम with him continued right up until his death sadly in 2014. तो वो तालीम मेरी चलती रही. पर उनके साथ साथ मैं my father took me to Lahore to learn with the you know the legendary उस्ताद मियाँ शौकत हुसैन खान साहब. और वो और अल्लाह रखा खान साहब दोनों ये गुरु भाई थे, ये एक ही उस्ताद के शागिर्द थे मियाँ कादर बख्श. तो उनसे मुझे मौका मिला सीखने का, और उनका तबला सुनने का, उनके साथ बैठने का, और उनकी बातें सुनने का. और आई थिंक it's had a big influence on my life एज अ म्यूजिशियन एंड ऑल्सो एज अ ह्यूमन बीइंग, यू नो, कि वो किस तरह से सोचते थे, किस तरह से यू नो ऑनेस्टी और सिंसेरिटी के साथ किस तरह से काम करते थे वो. तो दिस हैज़ बीन अ बिग इन्फ्लुएंस ऑन मी. मियाँ उस्ताद मियाँ शौकत हुसैन खान साहब, इवन अनटिल नाउ वो बहुत मुझे मेरे उन पे बहुत उनका असर है, उनके तबले का और उनकी शख्सियत का भी. तो फिर उनके अनफॉर्चुनेटली अगेन ही पास्ड अवे अगेन इन 96, इंसिडेंटली जस्ट 2 months आफ्टर माय फादर पास्ड अवे. या मियाँ साहब उस्ताद मियाँ शौकत हुसैन खान साहब पास्ड अवे. तो then luckily, you know, Ustad Allah Rakha Khan Sahab was touring the UK with Zakir Bhai and Fazil Bhai and Ustad Sultan Khan Sahab. तो उनका एक कॉन्सर्ट था यहाँ पे ओल्डम में. तो ओल्डम में कॉन्सर्ट था, तो मेरे फादर के एक बड़े अच्छे दोस्त हैं रफ़ीउल्लाह नियाजी साहब. तो उन्होंने कहा कि चलो मैं तुम्हें कॉन्सर्ट पे लेकर चलूँ, जाके सुनते. मैंने कहा जी चले. और मुझे आई वॉज वेरी एक्साइटेड कि बचपन से उनका तबला, अल्लाह रखा खान साहब का, जाकिर भाई का, इन लोगों का तबला सुनते सुनते यू नो वी ऑल ग्रो अप. तो मुझे मौका मिला तो खान साहब ने कहा कि, अल्लाह रखा खान साहब ने कहा कि तुम अगले दिन होटल में और तबला लेकर आओ साथ. मैंने कहा जी ठीक है. आई वॉज ओनली लाइक 16 or 17 at that time. I wasn't too old. तो मैं तबला लेकर पहुंच गया. सुल्तान खान साहब भी थे वहाँ पे, और अल्लाह रखा खान साहब भी थे, और रफ़ीउल्लाह अंकल भी थे. तो उन्होंने कहा कुछ सुनाओ. अब्बा जी ने कहा कुछ सुनाओ. तो मैंने कुछ सुनाया तो बड़े खुश हुए, बड़ा उन्हें दुआएं दी, बड़ा तारीफ़ की, मतलब बहुत इंकरेजमेंट किया. तो कहने लगे धागा लेकर आए हो. मैंने कहा जी मैं बिल्कुल धागा लेकर आया हूँ. तो मैं धागा निकाला तो उन्होंने कहा चलो मैं तुम्हें बांधता हूँ. तो उन्होंने शागिर्द उसी टाइम मुझे किया.
तो देखिए आपने, आपके पूछने से पहले ही उन्होंने शागिर्द चुन लिया.
उन्होंने अच्छे गुरु जो होते हैं कमलवीर जी, ये बहुत दरवेश और बहुत फकीरी तबीयत इनकी होती है. इनको पैसे से, यू नो चंद्रा जी, यू नो यू एग्री विथ मी कि यू नो इनको पैसे से या नाम से या शोहरत से कोई लगाव नहीं होता. ये फकीर होते हैं. आर्टिस्ट जो होता है, जो सुर, जो जिसका सुर और लय से ताल्लुक है, वो फकीर और दरवेश होता है. तो अब्बा जी और फयाज खान साहब और उस्ताद मियाँ शौकत हुसैन खान साहब, ये लोग दरवेश थे. इनका कोई, और आज तक हम इनको याद करते हैं. क्यों? दिस इज द क्वेश्चन.
मुझे याद है, मैं आपने फयाज खान साहब की बात की, मैं इंडिया गया था 20-25 साल पहले की बात है, और किसी के घर पे मेरी कंसर्ट थी, और तो मैंने कहा भी कोई अच्छा तबले वाला जरूर बुक कर लेना, क्योंकि उसके बगैर मैं कैसे बजाऊंगा. तो मेरे फादर ने कहा, मैंने किसी को अप्रोच किया है. मैंने कहा किनको अप्रोच किया? कह रहे उस्ताद फयाज खान, वो क्योंकि वहाँ दूरदर्शन पे बजाया करते थे. तो मैंने कहा वो मेरे साथ तो बजाने नहीं आएंगे, वो तो बहुत बड़े. और वो बड़ी खुशी से उस दिन आए बजाने, और किसी के घर पे कंसर्ट थी और उन्होंने मेरे साथ बजाया, और इतना ऐसे लगा कि जैसे कोई अपने ही बहुत पुरानी जान पहचान के, इस तरह उन्होंने मुझे ट्रीट
बहुत
किया.
लाजवाब लोग थे, बहुत प्यार वाले. और उन्होंने, मैं आपको सच बताऊं, फयाज खान साहब ने, ये मेरे सब गुरुओं ने मुझसे कुछ छुपाया नहीं. उन्होंने मुझे पूछने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ी कि जी मैं ये क्या बोल है और इसको किस तरह से बजाते हैं, ये क्या चीज़ है. उन्होंने सब कुछ बताया, और बड़े शौक से बताया, बड़े प्यार से बताया. और आई हैव बीन वेरी लकी इन दिस रिस्पेक्ट. आई कांट थैंक माय फादर एंड माय पेरेंट्स एंड माय वेल विशेस इनफ कि मैं इतना लकी रहा हूँ कि मुझे कभी कोई परेशानी तालीम के मामले में कभी परेशानी नहीं हुई कि मैं क्या करूँ. और मतलब बड़े प्यार से, मतलब चार फयाज खान साहब के साथ ऐसे होता था कि रात को हम 9-10 बजे बैठे हैं रात को, तो यकीन करें सुबह 5-6 बजे तक हमारी तालीम चल रही है, तबले पे गुफ्तगू चल रही है, वो अपनी स्टोरीज सुना रहे हैं, जस्ट मी एंड हिम इन द रूम, दैट नो वन एल्स. और बड़े प्यार से कि देखो यार ये कायदा याद करो, ये रेला याद करो, ये गत याद करो, ये फलां बुजुर्ग ऐसे इसको बजाते थे तो वो सुनो ऐसे. तो वो मुझे सोचने पर मजबूर करते थे. मतलब ही मेड मी थिंक कि नॉट जस्ट टू प्ले अ कायदा, he made me think how I can make a qaida my own and not become a copy, photocopy of my guru, you know.
That's right.
So ये चीज़ मुझे बहुत help किया, and I will be eternally thankful to these great people, always.
Sure, yes.
आई रिमेम्बर शाहबाज भाई, जो आपने कहा, आई 100% एग्री कि दो गुरु, अच्छे गुरु जो होते हैं फकीर होते हैं, दरवेश होते हैं।
सच है,
मैं
सच है।
गुरुजी के घर पे थी कमलवीर जी, मुझे याद है, छोटी सी थी, और आपा जी जो हमारे गिरिजा देवी जी पद्म विभूषण,
जी।
वो पास वाले बंगले में रहते थे, और मुझे आके हमेशा, तू मेरे पास क्यों नहीं आती, मेरे पास ये दादरा है, बहुत अच्छा तू गा पाएगी।
वाह वाह
मतलब
वाह
ये
वाह
जो गुरु, मैं मेरे गुरु के पास हूँ, लेकिन और गुरु आके मुझे बोल रहे हैं कि कम एंड आई वुड लाइक टू टीच यू दिस दिस इज,
दिस
आजकल
इज
के दिनों में
अमेजिंग।
ये कहाँ
आजकल नहीं
मिलता
मिलता, आजकल देखने को नहीं
है?
मिलता, ये देखने को नहीं मिलता, क्योंकि गुरु जो होता है, जैसे मैंने पहले ही कहा आपको कि वो ही हैज नो ईगो, नो बैगेज, नो false sense of pride about them,
Absolutely.
they are just open book कि जिसको, लेकिन it's up to the student, I feel, कि वो स्टूडेंट कितना ले पाता है अपने गुरु से, गुरु तो हाँ, गुरु तो बताता है, लेकिन लेना भी एक आर्ट है। How do you learn from a guru? Which attitude and which temperament you should have when you go to learn from your ustad or your guru? It's so important. तो ये चीज़ें, आई थिंक दिस इज अमेजिंग कि, और एक और मैं बात बताऊं, जाकिर भाई में ये बात मैंने देखी कि ही इज another gem of, not just, I mean, everyone knows कि how great of an artist he is. I have no, I can't say anything. I'm not capable. लेकिन as a human being as well, बहुत प्यार वाले, बहुत अच्छे, बहुत कभी no, he's such a great artist. लेकिन when you see him, when you meet him, he's down to earth as anything.
He is very
तो
down to earth.
हाँ, आर्टिस्ट को ऐसे ही होना चाहिए, I
Yes,
think.
क्योंकि मुझे याद है, मैं एक बार वो ग्लास्टनबरी फेस्टिवल होता है, उसमें मैं गया था बजाने,
जी।
और मैं और तालवीन सिंह, हम एक ही कमरे में ठहरे हुए थे, और नजमा अख्तर के साथ हम लोग गए थे सारे ग्रुप के साथ। तो हम एक कमरे में, और हम लोग रात को 10 बजे के करीब रियाज करने बैठ गए, मैं और तालवीन सिंह।
हाँ।
और 10:30 बजे के करीब दरवाजा किसी ने खटखटाया, तो जाकिर साहब बाहर खड़े हुए, वो किसी और कमरे में, वो कहीं से निकल रहे थे, उन्होंने वायलिन तबला सुना, दरवाजा खटखटाया, आ गए अंदर।
क्या बात।
उसके बाद वो बता रहा हूँ, 3-4 घंटे, रात को 3-4 बज गए, वो हमारे साथ बैठे, तबला बजाते रहे, गप्पे मारते रहे। तो
बहुत लाजवाब बात, बहुत लाजवाब बात, बड़े। और तभी इंसान को कामयाबी तभी मिलती है कि जब वो हम्बल हो और इसमें ईगो ना हो। आई थिंक दिस इज द सीक्रेट, एंड इट्स वेरी इजी इस काम में। चंद्रा जी और कमलवीर जी और इम्तियाज भाई, मैं ये जरूर कहूँगा कि इट्स वेरी इजी टू बिकम लॉस्ट। थोड़ा सा आपको सरगम कहनी आ गई, या गमक, आपको तान आपकी थोड़ी तैयार हो गई, आपको एक राग आपको थोड़ा सा समझ आ गया, या आपको कायदा कुछ अच्छा बजाना आ गया, it becomes very easy to become lost and have developed this false sense of achievement कि मैंने, I'm something,
Yes.
तो इससे बचना चाहिए. I think this is very important, and this is why a guru is so important, because the guru keeps you grounded.
Yes.
And he keeps you कि नहीं, ये गलत कर रहे हो, इसको
That's an important aspect of sort of Guru Shishya Parampara and the teaching that you're talking about, Shahbaz.
Yeah.
Few things I picked up from your sort of talk. A is that Baichak, there is no substitute of going to big concerts and have the feel. You got to have these Baichaks and learn.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm just trying to sort of summarize in a different key points that I can get into my head, is essentially that perhaps when we are actually, as an organizer, when we are organizing big concerts, we should look into it. And if we are actually, applying for any kind of funding and this and that, that is also quite important to have that, so that, those artists are actually bound. Sometimes they have busy schedule and this and that to do this. Small concerts. So youngsters who are now coming up can have the exposure, and also other important thing that not getting lost. That have the self that I learned everything. Now, my one other big question that I had. Oh, I think we may have lost Shahbaz Bhai. Can you hear? Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Lost you for a few seconds.
Yeah, lost you.
one important thing that I wanted to know. I mean, I've got two questions because I'm a fan of
Yeah.
yours. Because I was listening to it so intensely. Your father was a vocalist. Why tabla?
Yeah.
At a personal level, why did you choose tabla, not being a singer?
No, I you know what? I don't think I chose tabla. I think tabla chose me, if I'm
Aha.
honest.
Right.
Or I really couldn't give you an answer ke tabla hi kyun. I just had a natural affinity towards rhythm and the tabla, as you know. Um, I can't really give you an answer. लेकिन जो नसीब, I think नसीब में था तबला तो वो होना था. लेकिन इस गाना भी मुझे अगर तबला ना बजाता मैं, तो I may have been a singer or a sitar player. ये दोनों चीज़ें मुझे बहुत पसंद है. और I think मैंने थोड़ा गाना सीखा भी अपने फादर से, थोड़ा गाना मैंने सीखा भी.
मैंने सुना
इम्तियाज भाई, मैं बता दूं आपको, मैं आई थिंक इट वाज अ ईयर बैक, आई वेंट टू लीड्स फॉर अ प्रोजेक्ट विद और शाहबाज भाई वहां पे थे हमारे साथ, तो हम एक साथ रिहर्सल भी कर रहे थे और मैंने देखा शाहबाज भाई बैठ गए हारमोनियम लेके एंड और उन्होंने गाना भी शुरू किया था. तो इट वाज अमेजिंग एंड आई वाज गोइंग टू आस्क शाहबाज भाई कि शाहबाज भाई हारमोनियम पास में है, क्यों ना हम सुने थोड़ा सा.
मैं क्या आपको सुनाऊं? मैं
so well, such he was really playing harmonium such a way.
मैं आपको सुनाऊं क्या? आप खुद इतना अच्छा गाती हैं कि आपके सामने गाना मुझे शर्म आती है.
नहीं, ऐसा मत कहिए, मैं कुछ भी नहीं गाती हूँ, अभी भी सीख रही हूँ, आपको पता है. लेकिन it would be lovely to hear because the way you were playing the harmonium on that day, I was amazed.
अच्छा, मैं कुछ कोशिश करता हूँ.
हाँ जी, please.
You put me on the spot.
Your question after that, okay?
You put me on the spot. अच्छा, just give me 1 minute just.
Definitely. In the meantime, I just like to read comments that we have received. So many comments there. Kalinath Mishra ji is saying thank you to all. Thank you for joining us, Kalinath bhai. We have Sima Gil, Ambar Ali, and we have Vikas Vilas Mistry Archekar. We have Jayavant Naidu, Shutapa Mukherjee, Bobby Dalbir Nandra, Taposh K. Roy, Junaid Ali, Sarah Singh, Jagir Alam, Salman Farsi, Anil Ozen, Chayashil. I know Chayadi is joining. Thank you so much, Chayadi. Lovely to see you today after a very long time. Aun Muhammad, Nainesh P. Mehta, ये सभी लोग enjoy कर रहे हैं, लेकिन सभी ने, मैंने पहले भी कहा था कि everybody is praising our little master, how well he was accompanying his father.
ये तो अच्छी बात है.
चलिए शाहबाज भाई को सुनते हैं.
मैं बस एक मुझे ज्यादा गाना याद नहीं है. एक गजल मैं आपको थोड़ा सा मैं सुनाने की कोशिश. एक गजल और नथिंग मेजर, क्योंकि आई एम वेरी नर्वस नाउ. आपको हारमोनियम की आ रही है आवाज?
आ रही है.
अपने साए से भी अश्कों को छुपा कर रोना, जब भी रोना चरागों को बुझा कर रोना, जब भी रोना चरागों को बुझा कर रोना, अपने साए से भी अश्कों को छुपा कर रोना, जब भी रोना, चरागों को बुझा कर रोना। हाथ भी जाते हुए वो तो मिला कर न गया, हाथ भी जाते हुए वो तो मिला कर न गया, हाथ भी जाते हुए वो तो मिला कर न गया। मैंने चाहा था जिसे सीने से लगा कर रोना, जब भी रोना, चरागों को बुझा कर रोना। अपने साए से अश्कों को छुपा कर रोना, जब भी रोना, चरागों को बुझा कर रोना।
वाह,
अरे वाह,
क्या बात है शाहबाज,
क्या बात है।
क्या बात
बस
है।
आदत, अब परफॉर्म करने की आदत नहीं है, बस ज़्यादा जितना ज़्यादा परफॉर्म करेंगे उतना ही होगा, लेकिन तबले से इतनी फुर्सत नहीं मिलती हमें कि और कुछ करने को दिल भी नहीं करता, बस ऐसे ही
नहीं
है।
नहीं, इसके लिए ये तो फुर्सत से रियाज किया लगता है, या तो दिख रहा है
नहीं,
इसमें।
कभी नहीं, सच्ची सच में सुना बहुत है
Really?
मैंने। कमल वीर जी, मैं आपको बताऊं, मैंने सुना, आई एम अ वेरी गुड लिसनर, आई लिसन वेरी वेल, और आई एम एबल टू पिक अप थिंग्स, तो क्योंकि सुना बहुत है, बजाया बहुत है, गज़ल के साथ, ठुमरी के साथ, क्लासिकल बहुत बजाया, फ्रॉम मेहदी हसन साहब के साथ बचपने में बजाते रहे, और गुलाम अली साहब के साथ बहुत बहुत बजाया, परवेज़ मेहदी साहब, और मतलब मुझे बड़ा मैं लकी रहा हूँ कि मैंने इन बुजुर्गों के साथ मुझे टाइम गुजारने का मौका मिला।
तो ये जो अभी आपने गाया था, ये किनकी कंपोजिशन थी?
ये है परवेज़ मेहदी साहब की।
मैं बिल्कुल यही कहने वाला था, ये बिल्कुल परवेज मेहंदी साहब के स्टाइल में गा रहे
यूनिक
थे आप।
अंग है, बिल्कुल यूनिक
या
अंग है,
यूनिक अंग
बिल्कुल
था ये, बिल्कुल,
जी।
क्योंकि
और
उनके
मुझे
साथ
बहुत
मैंने भी
बहुत
बहुत
पसंद,
साइलेंट रहा।
हाँ, अच्छा, मुझे बहुत पसंद थे, और बहुत सुरीले आर्टिस्ट, और बड़े ही अपने उस्ताद के बहुत आशिक थे ये, और उनके गाने में, लेकिन इनका स्टाइल बहुत एक मुख्तलिफ था, फ्रॉम गुलाम अली साहब या जगजीत साहब या मेहदी हसन साहब,
बहुत अलग
बहुत
था,
एक
बहुत
मुख्तलिफ था, बहुत मुख्तलिफ।
या
वेरी नाइस। और आप इतना अच्छा हारमोनियम बजाते हैं शाहबाज भाई।
और ये ट्यून
बस
बहुत अच्छा करते हैं हारमोनियम।
अच्छा,
मुझे
ये
मालूम
मैंने खुद
हो
ही
या
ट्यून किया, ये मैंने खुद ही
या
अरे
ट्यून
वाह,
किया, ये मैंने मैं बिल्कुल,
वाह,
मैं रिपेयर भी अपना हारमोनियम खुद ही रिपेयर, अपना तबला भी खुद ही रिपेयर कर लेता हूँ, तो बस ये
वाह,
अब ऐसे, बिकॉज वी लिव इन द यूके, अनफॉर्चुनेटली वी डोंट हैव these luxuries of having our instruments repaired like India and Pakistan, तो खुद ही करना पड़ता है।
क्या बात है। हिंदोल मुजुमदार saying namaskar to you, Shahbaz bhai.
नमस्कार,
Abdul
नमस्कार।
Ghaffar, then we have Sitkar Gupta saying hello to Imtiaz Shahbaz and Kamal Virji from India.
हेलो, थैंक
Anis
यू।
Amin, वाह वाह क्या बात है उस्ताद जी। Honestly, this was so wonderful to have you here, Shahbaz bhai. मतलब
थैंक
we
यू।
meet at a concert, but we don't get this opportunity to talk about music and talk
Yeah,
about.
I think I thank you. I thank you for giving me this opportunity to really, spend some time talking. क्योंकि बजाना तो एक, this is a different aspect, लेकिन I think artists have so much to say as well. तो उनको मौका देना चाहिए। So I thank you, इम्तियाज जी, कमल बीर जी, बहुत अच्छा लगा मुझे आपके साथ बात करके, और
Imtiaz
आपके
bhai
साथ
has
टाइम।
got a list of questions for you, so
अरे
I'm not sure whether to.
I'm not sure whether we have time for the program to finish the questions. But one thing I was thinking, you grew up with the Delhi Gharana and then move on to Punjab Gharana.
Yeah.
What is your current Gharana?
Sorry, say that again. I didn't get the question.
I know. I'm just. It's a provocative question. So the question is that you grew up initially learned in Delhi Gharana and then now obviously learned to great maestro of Punjab Gharana. So do you represent yourself as a torchbearer or at one of those people who is going to take it forward, like Punjab Gharana, or you don't belong to any Gharana, or you belong to your own?
In terms of belonging to a Gharana, I very much affiliate myself to both the Gharanas, Delhi and Punjab. And I'm luckily I'm able to switch in between the two and then also merge the two styles together.
It would be nice, Shahbaz bhai, to have some sort of example of it, if you can, please.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to. Yeah. This is a very good question you asked. I'm glad you asked this. So, for example, if I'm playing a qaida from the Delhi Gharana, for example, sorry. Yeah. Thanks. So if I'm playing a qaida or a composition from the Delhi Gharana, it would typically sound like this, for example. Ta dati tagena dati tagadina gena dati dati tagena dati tagadina ta dati tagena dati tagadina gena dati dati tagena dati tagadina gena. Typically it would sound like this, but if I was to play a Punjab composition, now Punjab prior to the to Ustad Allah Rakha Khan Sab's contributions in tabla, qaida wasn't as prominent as it is now in Punjab due to the contributions of Ustad Allah Rakha Khan Sab and Mian Shaukat Hussain Khan Sab. तो अब मिसाल के तौर पे अगर मैं पंजाब का कोई कायदा बजाऊं तो it will sound very different to what I just played, which is Delhi. So sorry. Tage na da trick din da trick hit tage na da trick ding din ta tit tage na da trick tit ta trick hit tage na da trick. I hope you could see the contrasting sounds.
Very much. और इसमें से अगर जब आप सीखे हैं ये कायदे तो which to you was more difficult to learn?
दोनों ही मुश्किल थे अपने जगहों पे. They were both very weren't easy to learn because Delhi has a very particular sound, And in the Delhi Qaidas, there's a very particular narrative which is very prominent in those Qaidas. And unless you understand that narrative, it's very hard to play those Qaidas. And even though in terms of lay and tal and how the beats are divided up into the tal, they might not be as complicated as Qaidas from Ustad Allah Rakha Khan Sahib, for example, because Allah Rakha Khan Sahib has composed some of the most beautiful Qaidas, but very uncommon, for example, if I give you an example of Ustad Allah Rakha Khan Sahib's Qaida, using the same sounds as Dilli, for example. But one of his Qaidas he taught me was Dada Dati Dagina Daga Tina Gina Tina Dagina Tina Dati Dagina Tina Kina. तो आपको ये नजर आ रहा है कि वो किस तरह से ताल के साथ कट के ताता ताती ताकी ना ताका तीना कीना तीना तागिना तीना ताती तागिना तीना कीना.
वाह,
तो ये मुश्किल, इसको बजाना भी मुश्किल है
बहुत मुश्किल है.
और अपनी अपनी जगह पे. लेकिन दिल्ली का पंजाब दोनों, एंड पंजाब इज मोस्टली नोन फॉर इट्स गट्स, इट्स परन्स, इट्स फिक्स कॉम्पोजिशंस. तो अगर आप कहें तो मैं एक आध कोई गत परन सुनाऊं आपको पंजाब की. हाँ, तो मैं एक गत पेश कर रहा हूँ. पंजाब की कुछ फेमस और नॉट सो कुछ रेयर भी कॉम्पोजिशंस हैं, लेकिन देयर इज सो मच रेपर्टोयर अवेलेबल इन इन पंजाब एंड दिल्ली, एंड देन यू हैव माइस्ट्रोस लाइक अल्लाह रखा खान साहब, मियाँ शौकत हुसैन खान साहब, फयाज खान साहब, जाकिर भाई, and who are contributing so much to the already storehouse of repertoire.
One question I have. I mean, I know that I've got a lot of questions, but I'm pretty sure you won't mind me answering.
No, please.
It is extremely difficult, unlike the great masters that you just named, to perform solo tabla in UK only. You can accompany different artists, and you can keep yourself going.
Yeah.
But it's extremely difficult to have your solo performance and keep it going. How do you do that? Because I'm pretty sure we don't sort of see that many sort of solo tabla performances in UK like you would see in India or in Pakistan.
Yeah.
Because you're based in UK, and I sometimes feel amazed that it's amazing how you kept such a high standard of playing. And I often say this, and you're the one of the sort of best tabla player in the UK. There's no doubt in my mind. And every time I hear you, I can
That's
hear
very
a
kind.
distinct sort of sound, and your play always touches my heart, and I can feel
That's
the
very
heart.
kind, very kind of you. But I've Tazi, I've really worked hard. I've really worked hard. Like I said before, this culture of riyaz and practice, and I've kept that going. I've never let that die. That fire inside me. I've never let it be extinguished. My father, like I said, really drummed it into me. So I've throughout my life, no matter where I was or what I was doing or how busy I was, touring. Because when I left college, my touring schedule exploded. I was like uh, out of the country for like 5 or 6, 7 months at a time. Playing with different musicians and different artists all over the world. So, despite that, I didn't stop my riyaz. My riyaz was my lifeline, because I feel that if an artist is able to keep that standard um, uh, at a high standard, throughout his life, then that artist is amazing, because it's very hard, especially in a country like you rightly said, in the UK, where opportunities for a solo tabla player aren't, there aren't that often, but the way I look at it is, if I'm playing tabla, I'm not playing for tabla for the sake of performance, to get concert. I'm playing primarily because I want to play and I enjoy playing.
Uh-huh.
And if
Yeah.
anyone wants to share in that, then by all means they're most welcome to. But my primary reason to play the tabla, or to learn the tabla, or to carry this tradition forward, is for the sole fact that I'm doing it because I enjoy it. I find enjoyment in doing it. Performances and concerts is just a byproduct. It's not the aim. It shouldn't be the aim for an artist, I feel. Of course, we all need to earn money, and we need to pay the bills, whatever, and that's a different story altogether. Lekin, I think the primary purpose is for you to do it for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, so nicely said, because Kamal Bhaji and we are kind of. It's also a tour for us, because we've been fortunate enough to host so many maestros like yourself
Sure.
in the tabla, and there are a few questions we have asked most of the maestros, and it's quite interesting that you brought up this one, that you play tabla for yourself.
Yeah.
In a different way. And another question that after that is quite important, because how do you want to get sort of tabla into the young generations? Do you have any projects, or apart from your own teachings, do you do any?
I'm teaching privately, one-to-ones. I teach that, and I've been teaching for the past 15, 16 years now, privately. I also teach in a kind of a group ways. I also teach for university, so I'm teaching as much as I can. Um, and there are a few projects in the pipeline, which I'm hoping will happen after this lockdown finishes, where I'll be able to present short courses of learning the different styles of tabla. So styles by styles, I mean classical, I mean light classical, ghazal, qawwali, geet, all these different genres of tabla playing. How to actually look at those, and they'll be available online maybe in the next few months or so, I hope. So I mean, and these are different ways of me to reach out to the people who maybe aren't able to come to England to learn.
Yeah, yeah.
So there are ways around that, I'm sure. So there are a few things, and then there are a few projects which I have in the pipeline also, where I'm hopefully working on a tabla concerto with with a whole 60-70 piece orchestra, with the tabla as a central attraction, and all the compositions played by the orchestra are actually compositions which are tabla based.
Uh-huh.
So that'll be in the pipeline. That's a long project, but I'm we've working on it with a former student of mine who is actually now a conductor of
Very nice.
So we're working together.
Yeah, excellent. I mean, so nice to hear all those projects coming up, because that's really encouraging. And anyway, Shahbaz bhai, believe me, I can ask you questions all night long. We'll just stop here, because perhaps one day we will meet in a face to face, and I'll have a lot of questions then to ask.
For sure, please
sure.
do. No, maybe we can do a part 2 one day.
Of course.
Session.
It's such a lovely to know you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
We are
Very kind.
towards the end of concluding the wonderful session that we had today, Shahbaz bhai. Before we finish, of course, I couldn't speak to the little one, but I would love to meet with him and then have a chat with him.
Zarur. No, please bless him. Please give him your ashirwad and bless him, and hopefully he can bring this forward.
Shahbaz bhai, before we conclude today's session, I'm sure everybody there would love to have something from you. Whatever little you want to play, it's
sure.
Up to you.
Yeah.
But Siddharth is saying, please convey my heartiest wishes to Shahbaz bhai.
Thank you.
Unavar John is saying, God bless everyone. Good presentation by Ustad Shahbaz Hussain.
Thank you.
And thank you so much, all my lovely audience. You have been with us for the last almost more than 1 year. And with your encouragement, your support, I was able to continue with this session. So if you have liked, please do share it and subscribe to Kalakar's YouTube channel. All these sessions we'll be keeping on YouTube. These are all very good learning aspects in there. In each session you can learn. And before we finish, I'm going to start another project very soon. It's an online free project for everyone. And the first session is taking place on the 14th of March, where we will be each session, it's a monthly session, and each session we will discuss about 2 ragas, Hindustani classical music.
Wonderful.
2 ragas, you will hear a lot about the ragas, all the theory part, and also it's a great opportunity for all of us to listen to some bandishes which are very rare. And it's a great learning opportunity for students, which I would like to present a gift to all of you from Kalakar, on behalf of me. It's my tribute to my Guruji. Guruji wanted everybody to learn, everybody to sing. So I thought it's a great opportunity, Shahbaz bhai. That's what I'm starting. So with all your good wishes, that is the monthly session. But the first session would be with the most prominent female vocalist of Agra Gharana, Vidushi Shubhra Guha. She'll be presenting 2 ragas. We'll talk about the ragas and the bandishes. So as many as bandishes you can collect from this session, please do. So that is why do subscribe to the YouTube channel. And before we conclude, Kamalvirji, once again, no thank you to you, because you are a part of Kalakar, you know that. And Shahbaz bhai, please, whatever you want to present for our audience, would be lovely to hear.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Shahbaz
Thank
bhai.
you.
Wow.
Thank you.
बहुत
Thank you so
बढ़िया,
much.
बहुत बढ़िया शाबाश भाई.
बहुत शुक्रिया. बहुत
Yeah,
शुक्रिया.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so
That
much for
was
everything.
That was wonderful. Pratima Mathur saying beautifully played. I missed most of it, but as you know, Pratimaji, you can watch it again. Shamarin Devan is saying excellent, enjoying. Ricky Ajay saying Ustadji, Ustadji's Baya is the best. Yes, I do agree with you. Thank you, Shahbaz bhai. Imtiazda,
बहुत
thank you
शुक्रिया.
for coming with the list of your questions. I'm sure you will get more opportunities to meet
I'm
with
just
Shahbaz
thinking.
bhai.
I mean,
And then
I haven't asked you so many questions. Truly.
thank you, everyone,
Thank
for
you.
joining me.
Thank you.
We'll see you again on the next session on the 13th of March with two other talented artists from Calcutta, and then on the 14th with the new project. The project, I call it Raag Pariche. Shahbaz bhai, please convey my love to the little ones for
Yes.
supporting and being there.
I will. I will. Sure. I
And
will. Sure.
thank
आप
you
And
so
my
उसकी
much.
दुआ
love too.
करें, आशीर्वाद दीजिए उसको. बस.
And
शुक्रिया.
convey
Thank
my
you so
love
much
too.
for being. I'm sure we'll
Thank
meet
you.
again as soon as the lockdown is over. There are many
I hope
projects
so.
coming up.
I hope so. I
So
hope so.
let's meet very soon.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Kambalbir ji. Thank you so much, Imtiaz
Namaskar
bhai.
ji.
शुक्रिया.
Namaskar. Thank you.
Namaskar.
Thank you
Namaskar.
so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so
Bye.
much, all my audience. Stay well, stay tuned, and we'll see you soon again.
Thank you.